Student Live, Student Voices is being brought to you as a service of Ken Stopel Ford, Central Texas Electric Co-op, Totality Over Texas, Vogel Tractors, Joseph Financial Partners, Medical Arts Pharmacy, and Celebrity Care Medical Clinic.
As more of our KNAF AM 910 listeners hear about the Student Live, Student Voices program, we have received requests to rebroadcast the first 2 episodes to allow people to catch up on the program. The purpose of Students' Lives is to foster conversations among students, local community and school leaders, and medical and law enforcement experts on topics that matter to young people and those that care about them. While the program will run throughout the school year and explore multiple topics, the first topic we cover is bullying. We anticipate that this extremely important topic will take multiple weeks to thoroughly explore. This rebroadcast is being brought to our listeners courtesy of Ken Stopel Ford of Kerrville. Each episode is a half hour and covers different topics related to bullying. The first episode explores the legal definition of bullying, recent research on when and how it occurs, and initial ideas on interventions. The second episode goes more in depth on the growing and dangerous phenomenon of cyberbullying, its definition, legal consequences, and potential responses. Included in this rebroadcast is a little fresh information on resources that parents and students can access to learn more about bullying and its effects. An upcoming cyber safety event we also think parents, guardians, and older students may want to attend is one being offered by the FBI's San Antonio Field Office Crimes Against Children Squad, who will explain both the dangers of cyber exploitation and the existing community resources available to help young people and their loved ones cope and combat the phenomenon. This event will be held Monday, September 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. at St. Joseph's Hall at 212 West San Antonio Street in Fredericksburg. If you'd like to learn more about bullying, here are some resources provided by Amy Weiser, Safe and Secure Schools Program Coordinator for Kerrville ISD. Next week, a new episode of Student Live, Student Voices will be broadcast, looking at some of the health effects of bullying on students. Welcome to Student Live, Student Voices, a production of HC Broadcasting and KNAF AM 910. This series encourages conversations about the topics that matter to young people and the issues that affect them. Our goal is to engage students in these conversations as well as in the solutions created. Time now for Student Lives, Student Voices. Welcome to the 6th episode of Student Live, Student Voices, focusing on bullying. This episode will encapsulate the learnings from the first 5 episodes. Our previous episodes answered a number of significant questions related to bullying. We're going to present this episode in a Q&A format. We'll answer questions including why does it matter that we have these conversations, all the way to the legal implications of bullying, and beyond that to how can we counter bullying? What are our options? Please be aware this edition of Student Live, Student Voices will run over its usual 30-minute time frame. Why does it matter for communities to speak openly about bullying? In 2019, the National Center for Education Statistics stated that nearly 1 in 4, or 22%, of children ages 12 to 18 reported being bullied in school.
I'm Jerry Adams, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Comfort ISD. Bullying it's a reality, just not only just across Texas, but just across the nation. That's why we have specific guidelines and policies and how to address that. Because the bottom line is we want all students to have the very best educational experience, the best school experience possible, and if there's anything which gets in the way of that, we want to be able to have a system and structures in place where we can support all of our students so they have the best experience possible. Mm-hmm. We have to have the chemicals in our brain set up where we can learn. Mm-hmm. And when we feel stressed or threatened or not safe, there's chemicals in our brain that impairs learning. And so we need to make sure that we're in safe spots, because once we feel that way and we're physiologically in a mode where we can learn, that's when the business of school gets to happen and that higher order learning.
That's a great point.
And so
Amy Weiser, Kerrville ISD with Safe and Supportive School Program Coordinator.
Yes, I think it's really important that as adults we talk about it so the kids are willing to talk about it, because if an adult says it's taboo, or doesn't talk about it. Sometimes a kid will feel like no one understands, I'm the only one, or they don't really get what I'm going through. And I know the Center for Disease and Control says that bullying leads to lower self-esteem. It can increase students isolating themselves. It can lead to poor performance in schools. So we want to make sure that we open that door so kids are able to speak up and talk about what's going on. And when they speak up, they're no longer dealing with it internally, but they are able to then reach out for help.
Why is it important to get kids involved in solving the problem of bullying along with adults? Amy Weiser.
I think anytime we pull kids into it, it empowers them. And when we talk about what bullying is, there's an imbalance of power right there. And so anytime that we can help kids claim back that power and be able to be a positive change or reach out and talk about it, we're allowing them to be able to take back their own power and then even be able to help others and make a difference.
How do they use that? David Pedregon, community advocate and volunteer on Fredericksburg ISD's School Health Advisory Committee.
The only way through things like this is more conversations about them. Mm-hmm. The more that we have conversations, I feel like, and the more that we talk to each other as community members, we become informed and we become better equipped.
A young person is being bullied. Comfort ISD high school counselor Deanna Brummett.
Parents should really look for some of the signs that I see here when kids come in is they're not wanting to come to school. They're avoiding going to certain classes because there's students in there that bother them. Mm-hmm. Stomach ache, they get, they come in and say they got a stomach ache or a headache and want to call mom to come pick them up or dad to come pick them up. And that's when you really have to stop and go, okay, well, there's got to be a reason that they're not wanting to go. And even if it's been going on for a long time, it may be someone that they've been exposed to for a long time or just different groups that have been targeting them and they just don't know how to deal with that. Not wanting to talk about things, what happened with their day, and not wanting to go to school or expressing not wanting to go back to school or not liking a class or sick. They come home, they've got a headache, they're tired, they just want to go to bed. They want to isolate themselves because they don't know how to deal with it. And especially if it's been going on for a long time, they feel like nobody's listening to them and that.
What is the legal and working definition of bullying? Amy Weiser, Kerrville ISD with Safe and Supportive School Program Coordinator.
Can you tell us a legal definition of bullying?
Yes. So Texas Education Code identifies it and lays it out as bullying is a single significant act or a pattern of acts by one or more students that's directed at another student, and it exploits an imbalance in power. It affects them physically, or it puts the student in reasonable fear of harm, and it's sufficiently severe, persistent, or pervasive. And so it's going to create an intimidating or threatening or even abusive environment.
Deanna Brummett, I'm the high school counselor for Comfort High School. I think it's important to ask them things like, have they ever been bullied? Are they a bully? Have they, taken a part in that? Like, do they understand what that is? Because a lot of times we get reports of bullying when it's, in fact, a quarrel students are in. And so to know that definition and the distinction between the two, and for parents to know that as well.
We'll be back with more after this.
This is Steve Maxwell here at Texas Rebel Radio. And I want to talk to you just a second about Ken Stopel Ford in Kerrville. They're not just a great company to buy your next vehicle from or to get your vehicle serviced. The Stopels are deeply involved in the communities they serve. They give you their time and resources to Habitat for Humanity, Junior Livestock Scholarships, Kerr County Young Life, Harper and Medina Volunteer Fire Departments, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the United Way, and many more. They touch every community in this listening area in some way. There are some good companies in our Texas Hill Country, but the one company that stands out as an advocate for all of us is Ken Stopel Ford. When you consider purchasing your next vehicle or servicing the ones you have, please give Ken Stopel Ford a chance to show you what they are all about: honesty, integrity, and a willingness to get involved in their Hill Country community. They have been Hill Country proud since 1966, and they would love nothing more than to prove it to you. Find them at stopelford.com.
CTEC is a proud sponsor of Student Life, Student Voices. From lighting up your homes to powering local businesses, we've been your reliable source of energy for over 75 years. But CTEC is not just about electricity. From sponsoring local school programs to supporting community events, Central Texas Electric Co-op is all about giving back. In fact, concern for community is one of our guiding principles. With every flip of the switch, we're working together to build a brighter future. Visit our website or drop by our office today. Central Texas Electric Co-op, powering homes, empowering communities.
Welcome back to Student Live, Student Voices, a production of HC Broadcasting and KNAF AM 910. What is the legal and working definition of bullying? Amy Weiser, Kerrville ISD with Safe and Supportive School Program Coordinator.
Texas State Safety Center has provided the districts with a bullying checklist for schools that we utilize, and it gives us these boxes that we go through, and you check off a yes or no, and it kind of is a flow chart that you go through, and then from that flow list, it determines if it's an act of bullying or cyberbullying by law.
Bullying can include a myriad of behaviors and pathways. What are they? Amy Weiser, Kerrville ISD with Safe and Supportive School Program Coordinator.
Can you put a face on bullying? I mean, I know we've got cyberbullying, we've got physical bullying, we've got mental intimidation, we've got lots of things going on, but there's some things that are very new to some of our older listeners that they didn't have to deal with.
Amy Weiser.
Yes. So, back when I was in school, if there was some bullying that happened, it happened at school or in the community at the playground. But I got to go home and I got to escape from it and be safe and loved with my family. And so I had that reprieve. Now we introduce the internet and cyberbullying. And now all of a sudden our students could possibly be bullied 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know this isn't the latest research, but a while back they were saying that the prime time for cyberbullying was 2 a.m. in the morning. And
Johnson City High School student and a bullying survivor.
Mine happened all throughout middle school. So I lived in Johnson City my whole life, and then I went to another school. And when I went to that school, I was still tall, goofy, I tried it. And then middle school came around, I started doing athletics. And the 6th grade year, kid tripped me on purpose, broke my collarbone. 6th grade year, just got healed up with my collarbone and broke my wrist because I was tired. Principal did nothing about it. And so I went back towards my hometown because 7th grade year, first day of school, kids started gumming my hair. I got called names. And then 7th grade year, we found out that my old school was accepting transfer students, so I transferred back to Johnson City. And we drove until I got my driver's license, and then now I'm officially living in Johnson City back again, and I'm going to graduate from there.
Comfort ISD Superintendent Yvonne Munoz. Dr. Yvonne Munoz.
I guess today the difference between the past and now is, like you said, it used to be just physical maybe in the past, but now it's more, it could be social bullying, online cyberbullying. So there is a huge difference from the past, especially, me being an 80s kid. It's different than it is today.
In Comfort ISD, high school counselor Deanna Brummett.
And like Dr. Munoz said, bullying has changed so much from when we were kids. They've got so many more things and so more pathways for people to bully each other, whereas we could go home and it was done, And these kids, they go home and it
you have to
continues.
worry about social media.
Yeah.
What's somebody going to put out there? They're going to
Yes.
put a picture. What they're going to say about me.
Yeah.
Amy Weiser, Kerrville ISD, Safe and Supportive School Program Coordinator.
The cyberbullying has really changed things. It's no longer just the physical or the social isolation. We do see a lot of that relational aggression still, but that relational aggression is being seen on social media. On platforms, it can be text, it can be snaps, it can be direct messages. There's so many ways now, and it's hard. There's so many new apps coming out.
Moderator Steve Maxwell.
The definitions about cyberbullying, sometimes it's called online bullying, but the definitions vary from source to source. And most of the definitions consist of several key factors. It's an electronic form of contact. It's an aggressive act. It has intent. It has repetition. In other words, they do it many times. And it's meant to harm the target. Cyberbullying, one of the worst things about cyberbullying is that it can be anonymous. That makes it even worse. It also has a wide audience, and it can spread very quickly. And targets of cyberbullying often feel like they can't escape the bullying. If you're bullied at school, you can get away from it. It's over when you leave for the day. But cyberbullying can follow you home and continue all night. Imagine this: a classmate posts a photo of themselves online. Someone else makes a mean, mocking comment about that photo. Soon that photo has been shared, liked, reposted, even made into a meme. Thousands of people have seen it, even people the person being targeted doesn't know. That is why cyberbullying can be extra hurtful. It's public, it spreads quickly, and it's 24/7. Cyberbullying can happen anytime, in the morning, afternoon, evening, it doesn't matter. It's not just while our students are at school, it happens while at home or out in the community. And it can be shared to a potentially much larger audience. It's often easier to bully using technology because of the greater physical distance. The person bullying doesn't see the immediate response from the person being targeted. They might not recognize the serious harm caused by their actions because technology distances them from real-life pain they could be causing. Once something is shared on the internet, it is often available to everyone, everywhere. It can be challenging to completely delete information once it's on the internet. Now, there's a caveat to that. There's an advantage to the permanence. Online bullying does leave tangible evidence. Unlike physical or emotional bullying, online bullying leaves a digital footprint. The words, images, videos posted, they can be documented through screenshots or saving URLs and text. And that can be useful if a crime has been committed and they want to investigate the bullying.
We'll be back right after this. Calling all Eclipse visionaries. Totality Over Texas, based here in Fredericksburg, has all your Eclipse essentials covered. ISO certified Eclipse glasses, commemorative t-shirts, and more, all custom designed with Texas in mind. It's time to get ready for the ultimate celestial spectacle. Visit www.totalityovertx.com and make sure all eyes are on you during the eclipse. That's totalityovertexas.com.
Vogel Tractors is the Texas Hill Country source for pre-owned tractors. They offer new and used implements and attachments for landscaping, tillage, and harvest, as well as small construction machines and attachments. Their inventory includes new equipment from Rhino, Armstrong Ag, Industrious America, Mohawk, Ag Meyer, and more. Every tractor at Vogel's is thoroughly inspected, serviced, and field tested to ensure that they're field ready. Your trade-in is welcomed at Vogel Tractors, and financing options as well as nationwide delivery is available. The Vogels are successful 6th-generation Texas German farmers and ranchers who know what it takes to work the land. So when you need a tractor or a piece of associated equipment, visit your Hill Country neighbors at Vogel Tractors, 12 miles east of Fredericksburg on U.S. Highway 290, or find them online at vogeltractors.com. That's VOGEL tractors.com.
Welcome back to Student Live Student Voices, a production of HC Broadcasting and KNAF-AM 910. When does bullying become a crime?
I'm talking tonight with Nicholas Krupa. He's a detective for the Kerr County. Is it the prosecutor's office that you work for?
Yes, sir. I'm the investigator for the Kerr County Attorney's.
The question I had, Nick, is have you had any cases involving bullying that have risen to the level of a misdemeanor crime? Have you seen any of that?
Yes, sir, lots of it. Because in order really for law enforcement to get involved, it's going to be something that's already gotten to the level of an actual crime. Something beyond just the pulling of the pigtails on the girls at school, or even, well, pushing a boy into a locker is still a Class C assault, but most of that will be handled at the school level. But we've seen them go literally all the way from Class C assault by contacts to investigate a hate crime before that was tied to bullying.
Oh, wow. Was that, can you mention what county that was in? Or
That was a local case, and I don't know the complete and utter status of it, so the particular details were, long and short, it was a young man was targeted for his sexual orientation.
Yeah, we've in my research, I've seen a lot of that. Have you seen anything that's risen to the level of a felony crime?
That particular incident did, and in most of them, if they're not stopped and intervention from law enforcement or school or community doesn't happen, it'll go from a misdemeanor to a felony if you let it go to them. What happens with the kid that's being bullied, if it's not stopped, it affects their entire life. It affects their mental health. It affects their decision making. And what those kids go do is reach out in ways that are not always that productive. Gang members typically in the larger cities, those people are all forming together to really prevent themselves from being bullied from other gangs. Other kids will seek out substance abuse problems, could be drugs, alcohol, any of that stuff, because they're trying to cope with whatever's going wrong in their life. And then after that, they start making bad decision after bad decision, and things get worse.
Yeah.
What can happen if bullying behavior isn't stopped? Johnson City High School student and a bullying survivor.
Mentally, I was just like, I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to go back to my old school where all my friends were.
So really, it probably hampered your education a little bit.
And
it slowed you down a little bit.
That too, and some of the teachers would help, but when I got diagnosed with dyslexia, teachers wouldn't help as much.
Did you, afterwards or as this was going on, did you get to have good conversations with your parents and other folks that helped you
Yes.
kind of cope with it and figure out
Yes,
how to cope?
but I do remember the one time when I did want to try and yeah, but after that,
It sounded like you had somebody that you could talk to at that time that helped you through that, or is that something you worked through yourself?
I kind of worked through myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really start going to young life till high school.
Right.
So middle school, when I came back to middle school, I kind of reconnected with all my friends. But it's just, like, my old school is just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It sounds like you had a lot of resilience in yourself too. That's really impressive.
I get that from my coaches that I'm a hard worker, so.
Where and how can targets of bullying report what's happening? If reporting doesn't work the first time, then what? Amy Weiser, Kerrville ISD, Safe and Supportive School Program Coordinator. If someone witnesses bullying, whether in the real world or in the virtual world, what's the safest first step for them and for the person being bullied, for the witness to do? What are their options?
Yes, so they have a couple different options in that situation. If there's a trusted adult there and they feel safe being able to reach out to that adult right then and there, that is going to be our best, most immediate course of action, is to get that trusted adult's attention. There's also ways to, if it doesn't feel safe, like you feel like you're putting a target on your back by going and reporting this, there are ways to do it anonymous. There's new laws that schools have anonymous reporting systems. Here in Kerrville ISD, we use the P3 program, which there's an app that students can put on their phone. You can also access it from a PC, and it is 100% confidential.
Comfort ISD Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Jerry Adams.
What is your reporting system here at Comfort ISD for bullying?
Jerry Adams.
Well, of course, we have resources on our webpage, and we have the required postings and pieces like that. So, like, for example, if a student was experiencing bullying, they could come and, one, talk to a trusted adult, come make that report to the teacher or the counselor or the principal, and so that's one mechanism for it. They can do an anonymous report online, and so if, for example, they see that type of behavior, they could report that, and their name wouldn't be attached to it, but it would give a little bit of information for the principal or the assistant principal, where they could do some of the investigation.
Heather Engstrom, the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction for Kerrville ISD, and Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction for Kerrville ISD. From the scenario you gave us, I'm not sure what steps the parents went through, but any parent who is not satisfied with maybe the care on the campus that their child is receiving, they can always contact central office administrators or the superintendent to have a dialogue and talk through those steps. And then usually in my position, if I have a concerned parent call me, then we reach out with the principals and kind of find a common ground. So there are beyond the campus. Earlier you were talking about, well, can they see another counselor at a different school? And that's usually not a common practice because, as Ms. Weiser said, the campus counselors know about the campus resources and how to best serve students on their campus. But if parents are unhappy with or concerned about what is happening on the campus and want to hear from another administrator, they can always reach out to the superintendent.
In next week on Student Live, Student Voices, for the second half of this summary of the first 5 episodes of Student Live, Student Voices, focusing on bullying. We'll be returning with new episodes on December 3rd.
Joseph Financial Partners is a proud sponsor of Student Life, Student Voices. They offer independent financial advice in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and insurance. They're here to educate and assist you with all of your financial needs, and they hold themselves to a fiduciary standard, meaning they place your needs above their own. Their mission, to partner with their clients on all of their significant financial decisions by providing independent advice, appropriate education, and extraordinary service, all delivered with the integrity that holds your financial needs above their own. Please visit Joseph Financial Partners at josephfinancialpartners.com and find out why so many have placed their trust in this extraordinary Hill Country financial team. josephfinancialpartners.com.
This is Steve Maxwell, Sales Director here at HC Broadcasting, and I'm careful about giving personal endorsements, but Ken Stopel Ford in Kerrville is a no-brainer. I recommend them without reservation. My wife bought the last truck we purchased from Ken Stopel, and she told me she will never buy from another car dealer. They won't be satisfied until you are happy with the service you receive. That's why Ford Motor Company gave them their President's Award. Ford dealers get this when they meet or exceed customer expectations in every department. They also give back to Hill Country schools and communities. I asked my friend Terry Massey, their general manager, if they would help with our radio show about bullying. He didn't ask me what Ken Stopel would get out of the sponsorship. He just said, sign us up. That's the Stopels I know. The next time you need a vehicle or service, go see the folks that really care about people in the Hill Country. Go see Ken Stopel Ford. Find them at stopelford.com.
We want to make sure that any of our listeners understand help is available from many sources. There is always hope, and nothing is inevitable. There are school counselors, reporting systems at schools, and even help through hotlines such as the 988 system. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, call 988 for assistance, or contact Texas Health and Human Services at 855-937-2372 to talk to a trained professional.
Thank you for listening to Student Lives, Student Voices, brought to you by our sponsors, Ken Stopel Ford, Central Texas Electric Co-op, Totality Over Texas, Vogel Tractors, Joseph Financial Partners, Medical Arts Pharmacy, and Celebrity Care Medical Clinic.